And you talk about this line between life and death, which is really interesting. And it's edging along the fragile line between life and death, peering cautiously into the other side. It is as if we were immortal, neither alive nor actually dead. Now, these are very dark and interesting ideas.
I was trying to explore some rationale for why you would go and do something. I mean, what on earth would make you want to climb the hardest way up something when you can walk up the back with your hands in your pockets? I could only talk for myself. From my point of view, I thought it was that when you're doing it, your whole perspective on life changes. You're in that sort of limbo between life and death. I mean, it sounds very melodramatic. I don't mean that. I mean that if you screw up, you can die, and if you don't, you make the right decisions, you're okay. But you're living utterly in the present. You know, you can't worry about what's going on at home. You can't worry about your mortgage or your job. You just have, and you're in this sort of suspended reality all the time. And when you come down off the mountain, that perspective begins to fade. And you think, well, I want it again. And that's, for me anyway, why you go back up to visit these places. Now, you don't do it because you want to die, and you don't do it because you want to get hurt, but you do it because you have an inescapable sense of feeling immortal. I think you do. I mean, clearly you don't, because we all keep dying, so I'm obviously wrong on that one. But there is a sense of living utterly in the present that is very life-enhancing, you know. So
I want to just ask you now, because we're getting onto these darker subjects. I'm going to ask you the same question I asked for the first book about the beckoning silence, this beckoning silence. What is that hinting about?
Well, it's you know that when you look over the edge of a cliff, or if you stick your head out of a skyscraper, anyone, whether you're a climber or not a climber, will have this lurching, pulling sensation. And the classic thing that non-climbers say is, oh, I can never go climbing because I'm scared of heights. Well, so are climbers. You know? I mean, we know what happens when you hit the ground. We're probably more scared of heights. But what's happening is that your eye is trying to find the ground. And basically your eye to brain thing is not, it's what we climbers call exposure. You can't find it, and so that gives you this great sense of like you're being pulled down. But when you look at something like the eye group, you go and stand underneath it, it's just this vast thing. And to be up there on it, you know, playing games, so to speak, to me that's what the beckoning silence meant. It was that enormous attraction that it sucks you towards it. And yet at the same time, you look at it and you think of all the things that are dangerous about it, and there's this huge, you're repelled by it at the same time. And you need the attraction, you need the fear, and you need the excitement. If you had just one, it wouldn't work. You need both of them.
All your books talk an enormous amount about death and ghosts and
but there's a lot of
darkness.
Humor.
There's a lot of humour.
Yeah, I mean, it's not all just...
I'm just talking about this. Sure. Yeah.
It sounds like
demons,
Nietzsche or
mountain god.
Kill myself.
I was a philosopher once.
Yeah. The next step leads to darkness.
Yeah. But I'm just not quite sure, because you say fairly...
Doesn't death fascinate you in so much
it does.
It validates...
That's why I'm asking.
You see, this is the contradiction that everybody has about climbers. You know, they have this bizarre idea that we all have a death wish, you know, and, okay, so my career probably doesn't prove it the other way, but if anything, the opposite is true. If anything, our motto is that, you know, there's no points for being dead. Climbing a mountain and dying in the process is about as pointless as swimming to the centre of the ocean. You have to come home, you know. But because death negates everything that you're trying to do, but equally well, death also validates everything that you do.
Yes.
Because in a way, it's what I talked about in This Game of Ghosts, which is Jeremy Bentham's notion of deep play, which is applied to gambling, but deep play is like extreme gambling, which I think applies to serious climbing in the same way, which is where, you know, what you stand to lose far exceeds anything that you can possibly win. So all you do, you get onto the summit, you achieve whatever your dream is, you have this transient moment of the summit, and you come down, right? The other option, you lose your life.
Yes.
But the fact that you could lose your life validates what you're doing. It makes it absolutely, ultimately important, because you're actually prepared to put everything on the line to believe that this is worth doing.
Non-bullshit adventure.
Yeah, and that is why I think climbing has produced an extraordinary amount of very good literature in a way that football and golf hasn't.
Because they don't. Exactly, that's exactly why I wanted to raise this, because there is something so different, isn't there, about mountaineering.
And Wayne Rooney writing about death in football, I don't think it's going to happen, really.